Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. It's hump day, and we are one day away from the John Deere Classic, which doesn't have a lot of the big names. Some of them just have withdrawn. Some of them have skipped abroad, or should I say have left the building for the Live Tour. And today we have a special show. Not only is my co-host, Mr. Riley Magnuson from the Windy City here, but we have a first on the closing bell. We have a guest, a star in our lanes, the awesome Aussie, as I like to call him, the one and only Mr. Dubs Anderson, who's going to break down the John Deere Classic. He's going to answer a few questions about the Live Tour, maybe throw out a few leans as well. So let's bring out our two guests here, the co-host, Mr. Riley Magnuson, and the star of today's show, the one and only Mr. Dubs Anderson.
How are we, gents? Happy hump day. The awesome Aussie JD. It's always a pleasure. Riley, good to see you, mate. I've been called so much worse than the awesome Aussie, but I'm excited to be here and talk up the John Deere Classic. And boys, I've got to be honest, every week I harp on about these golf events for the PGA Tour. It's a great event with a great field, great old school golf course, but we got to call it for what it is this week. I mean, it is not the strongest field this week in golf, the John Deere Classic. We're lacking a couple of big names. Where are the big names? A few of them up there in Portland for the Live Golf Series. But you know what? I'm excited, boys. I mean, golf is such a stuffy, boring sport at times. Not the last couple of months, boys. Plenty of money, plenty of competition, and that's always a good thing. Happy Wednesday, lads.
Dubsy, I don't think you could have said it any better. I pulled up the odds for the John Deere, and when you look and see Adam Hadwin, your favorite at plus 1,000, and Webb Simpson, who back a year and a half ago was in great form. Now you don't know if he's going to last, 8 holes, never mind 72 holes. I have to ask you first about last week. Hats off with Xander. You were on last week on some shows, and I saw the Xander play. Hats off to you. Okay, I don't think this got said enough. What the hell happened to Cantlay?
I mean, hello, Patty Ice, Patty Terminator. Are you there? Are you listening? I mean, what did Eminem famously once say? Warming up, mum's spaghetti all over the sweater. I mean, that was Cantlay on Sunday. And for Xander Schauffele, he had to watch that train wreck playing in the same group. We know they're best mates. I definitely didn't see that coming. Rory McIlroy, I mean, he wasn't much better either. But JD, if you can just lean across the screen there and give Dubsy a pat on the back, much appreciated, mate. We love seeing Xander Schauffele in the winner's circle. I don't think he's been there as much as he should have. But, I mean, what about the big bomb play I had last Sunday? I had Sahith Theegala for the breakthrough win. He was at 150 to 1, finished as title runner up there. He sort of let that one go late on Sunday. My mate has been catting for him all season long. A young guy searching for that breakthrough win. And look, that's a sign of where this field is at this week for the John Deere Classic. Last week, Sahith was at 150 to 1. This week, he's one of your favorites at 27 to 1. I mean, you could put JD, Dubsy, and Riley at the top of this board over at one of the sportsbook, and no one would bat an eyelid. None of these names look familiar to the average sports punter, but for us, I still see good opportunity, good value plays, and the John Deere Classic, baby. Bring it on. Get the tractor started.
Now, I go back to when JT won, right? It was the 18th hole, and Mito pulled one into the creek.
Yeah.
What was it on 18 for your guy there? Was it this? Is it you're finally there? You're about to break through. I mean, we go back to Lefty at the U.S. Open a million years ago. Leave the driver in the back. What is the mentality when you get to 18? Shouldn't the caddy be saying something to him?
Yeah, look, people say, what happened with that second shot? I mean, he blades it straight into the lip of the bunker. But for me, I'm going back to the tee ball. I mean, why not just send it right, take 3-iron off the tee? It's a really short par 4, the 18th. But you know, these young guys, JT, they're all jacked up on a bit of Mountain Dew, a bit too much lead in the pencil, if you will. He's taking the big stick. He's saying, I want to make birdie and absolutely hammer this one home. The only place you can't miss is in that left bunker. He finds it. He hits the lip. He comes out for 3, almost makes a bogey. But again, that's a few close calls we've seen from Thigala. We saw it in Phoenix, the Sanderson Farms. Now this one to go with it. He's knocking on the door. He's getting close. It's still his first season on the PGA Tour. These are hard lessons to be learned, but sometimes that's what you need to get it done. The young guys, this is how they play, JD. They come up on the PGA Tour. It's hell for leather. We're going to go at every pin. We're either going to shoot 20 under par or we're shooting 20 over par. Some weeks it clicks, some it doesn't. It's a name to watch. He'll definitely get in the winner's circle. Maybe again this week. I think he's got the motivation to really bounce back for this one. And I love his golf game. He's a good kid. Serious gamer as well.
When we're leading up to the John Deere, before we start to break that down, go back a month ago. Anyone that left the PGA was shunned upon to go to the Live Tour. And then as the weeks have progressed, it just seems like it's okay now. I know they haven't got the big star-studded name, your top 5 guy. Rory's still throwing shade on it. We get all that. What are you hearing in the lanes from the PGA? I mean, because look at, they're just 2-3 at a time now, just stepping over and not afraid to play.
Yeah, and look, I'd say the upper hand has definitely gone Liv's way to date. I mean, they needed a few big names to give this thing legs. They've got more than a few big names. I mean, you look at the field they've got this week. Mickelson, DeChambeau, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Paddy Reed, Abe Ancer, Carlos Ortiz. This sounds like a major championship. So the advantage is totally with them. And for the PGA Tour, I'm a little frustrated. Now they're being reactive. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's do exactly what Liv have done. Let's do our own 8 mini-series events, $20 million prize purses, no cuts, only 50 guys pegging it up. I'm like, come on, we can do a little better than that. And that's what frustrates me. They've just found $160 million. Oh, yeah, we had that in the back safe there. The PGA Tour is making billions of dollars. It's now too late. We've lost these names. They're not coming back in the next couple of years. The Live Golf Series, that's not going away anytime soon. That is here to stay. And for those players, I mean, it's completely a big loss to the PGA Tour. People say, well, they're still going to rock up to the major championships. You look at last week, what a strong field we have there. Xander Schauffele on Sunday. That's good. Now look at the John Deere Classic. Look at the wraparound season in a couple of weeks after the Open Championship. These are the fields we're going to get. What happens to the DP World Tour? Sure, the PGA Tour forms an alliance with them yesterday to strengthen that relationship. I mean, they're only hanging by a string. If you think we're losing big names, we're going to get some of those guys. So for me, the whole product gets watered down. It's still golf, boys. It's not that exciting where we can have 2 or 3 different tours and it's going to be riveting sports week in, week out. So right now, if you can now, bet on the Live Golf Series up there in Portland this week, people are going to start to watch it. If they figure out the broadcast side of things, and I'm 50-50, do I want to watch the John Deere Classic with, JD, Riley, and Dubsy battling it out over the weekend? Or am I going to go watch in Portland? I'm thinking twice now, boys. It's not good for the PGA Tour. Too much reactive. They had their chance. And look, what does fire need to breathe? A bit of oxygen. The PGA Tour, the last couple of months, all the major broadcasts. Let's talk about Live. What's going to happen? Just let the players go. They can play both tours. Come back when you're ready, boys. The legacy, the prestige is still here. And the players would absolutely come back and play in the bigger events. Drawing that line in the sand, I don't think it helped the cause. So Jay Monahan, back to the drawing board, my man. Hasn't been handled well from my side.
Right.
John Deere Classic. The stage is yours. Fire away.
Well, again, boys, it's a week for the opportunity play. TPC Deere Run, not the longest of golf courses. It's going to be a birdie shootout. 21, 22 under par gets it done. Who's won here in the past? A guy like Steve Stricker, multiple wins. Jordan Spieth, that tells us there's a bit of course history which comes into play for this one. The fairways are a little rewarding, bit of undulation, lean towards shot making. But when you've got a field like this, I'm looking at form. Who's been showing up on the leaderboards the last 4 or 5 weeks? I'm looking at some of these young guys. It's a great chance to get the breakthrough win. 5 of the last 10 winners here have been first-time winners. That's absolutely got my attention this week. But again, don't fall in love with the top of the board. Go for form. Go for value. For me, I think Sahith Theegala stands out there at 27-1. I don't mind a guy like Maverick McNeely searching for that breakthrough win. He's been really close this season. I think it's coming. And go the value play. Go a guy like Christian Bezuidenhout out the South African scrambler ATM machine. He's great for a top 20. Well, this is a week where we don't have that pedigree, that star power. A guy like Bezuidenhout, a guy like Scotty Stallings can absolutely get back in the winner's circle. This golf course, get a hot putter, be good in approach. That is all you need.
It's funny you brought up Mr. Bazoo on one of our algorithms that we use. A good friend of yours, Mr. Rick Gaiman from CBS Sports and Golf, puts together algorithms with all his stuff at rickrungood.com. If anyone wants to run over there, free shout out, Mr. Gaiman. He's got his number one was Bazoo this week.
Look, I like the bazooka. He's won multiple times around the world over there in the European Tour, but fails to do it here on the PGA Tour. I don't know if it's a pressure thing. I don't think he enjoys the limelight. But again, I mean, I've been cashing tickets on Bezuidenhout the last 12 months. He's going to be there for the President's Cup team, especially with the recent defectors. We've lost Schwartz, we've lost Louis Oosthuizen. So I love his golf game. Last year, he was really good scrambling around the greens. This year, not so much, but I mean, he's still 47th in strokes gained putting, top 75 in strokes gained off the tee and on approach. I love the way he plays. He's well-rounded. He's just got to get himself into the event. I don't know if he's a great front runner, JD, but if he can just be stalking 2 or 3 shots back going into Sunday, that's when he's going to pounce. And the win, it's only a matter of time. I mean, this is a guy who contends at major championships. A week like this week, the John Deere Classic, please. It's just a practice round for him.
Jason Day. You talk about form. I talk about bad backs. I talk about, is he going to finish? I'm looking at him at 35-1. You talked about Stallings, another young guy, Cam Davis at plus 4,000. If there was someone that I wanted to go further back and, the old pizza and bear money, is there anyone in particular or a couple that you might hit the fairway with?
Look, I like you three out there. Jason Day, I mean, we're seeing glimpses this season on the tour again that he's trying to find some of that form that got into world number one. I see a healthy Jason Day. What does he do well? Still top 60 around the greens and strokes gained putting. It's a shorter golf course. He's a bit wayward off the tee, but this week it's a bit more forgiving. So I absolutely love Jason Day. I love him for a top 40. You can still get him a plus 105 there at some of the major sports books. So I don't mind that play in the outright market. Look, we saw him only a month ago right there. He went up in flames on the Saturday. I like Jason Day's golf game. He's got the motivation. We've got 3 spots up for grabs this week, trying to qualify for the Open Championship in a couple of weeks. Jason Day's got the pedigree for me. If you're looking for a bit more value, well, it's not going to be a fat number, but I love Scotty Stallings on a smaller ballpark at 33-1. He's a 3-time winner on the PGA Tour. He keeps hovering right around the top 20. What we've seen the last few events, this is the week where those guys can really elevate and get back in the winner's circle. Scotty Stallings, shorter golf course, birdie shootout, sign me up.
If I could jump in real quick, Jeff, I've got a couple. When we have the California and Florida swings, Dubs, we've got the Florida natives doing well in those swings. California, a couple of Illinois natives in this one. Nick Hardy, Kevin Streelman. Anything you like out of those 2 guys? Nick Hardy's been playing decently in the last few weeks. Streelman, I think, has had some decent success here at this course. Anything you like out of those two?
I love Nick Hardy. Hardy by name, Hardy by reputation. He made the cutback here as an amateur in 2017, first season on the Big Boys Tour. You look at the last couple of weeks, and again, I'm big on form. I'm big on course history. A top 15 last Sunday at the Travelers, the week before there at the US Open. He's a gamer. He's got the local knowledge, knows this course better than most. And again, the friends and family are going to be out there in full support. Nick Hardy, love his golf game. Love that pick there.
Hey, I like it. Yeah, it's not. I'm in Chicago. It's not a Chicago tournament, but we take pride in the tractor procession here in Illinois. This is our tournament here. So and we know it's they moved it up a week. Typically, I think it's a week before
It is.
the Open Championship. So that really illustrates what. The depletion of this field. A lot of us, I know my brother goes to this almost every single year, and it's always a nice event. But he was excited, thinking that this was going to be a bigger field this week. So I think that alone kind of illustrates some of the depletion that we're seeing out of this field here.
Yeah, and I mean, this used to be the lead up to the Open, where the top three would get the private jet on the Sunday night and make the trip over to Europe. But this week, we're not getting. I think that's sort of hurt the field for sure, but still a great event. The fans are going to be out there. It's Illinois. What a better golf course than this one. We've seen some, journeymen in the past. I mean, Lucas Glover got it done here. A guy like Steve Stricker. I've seen a couple of names thrown in there, but yeah, horses for courses. This is a week where, I'm big on form, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the big bomb value play. One of these older statesmen who we haven't seen in 6 months. He returns to a golf course that he knows inside out, gets a hot putter, maybe lifts the trophy come Sunday. Anything can happen. I like this tournament. I like this golf course. And again, if we want to stomp feet and say, why haven't we got such a strong field? It's going to get us nowhere. I look at it as great opportunity for these golfers to get FedEx Cup points, to try and get the breakthrough win. And for us, I think it's a great week because the sportsbooks, they don't know how to handle this one. They're like, who? Nick who? Hardy, what is that? Yeah,
Right.
Yes, a good chance. We still got all the markets that we thrive upon. Finishing positions, heads-up matchups. Go the value play. John Deere Classic. I'm charged up for this one, boys.
Well, I don't want to damper the charge here. Give us your take this week on the LIV Tour.
You went there, JD. You said we're going to talk about these guys. Look, it is what it is. It's a golf tournament. We got to talk about it up there, Pumpkin Ridge in Portland, Oregon. Again, a really strong field. You look at the names that have all jumped ship. One would argue it's much stronger than what we got this week at the John Deere Classic. Not a long golf course, but again, look at the format. It's very much exhibition style. 54 holes of golf, shotgun start, no cuts being made. For the big names who have been paid $125 million, $200 million, what motivation do they have? I think this tournament is perfectly suited for the big bomb value play, especially with this shotgun start. Everyone's out on the golf course on the same time. You go into Saturday, the final round. No one knows who's the last group out there on the golf course. So for these golfers, they can sneak under the radar, first past the post. Maybe you get it done, win $4 million. I think a guy like Kevin Na, the ultimate gamer, he's like a Jordan Spieth. He's going to show up and try and beat you in whatever he can. He'll beat you to the first tee by running there if he will. At 18-1, I think that's a good value play. I'm staying away from the guys like DJ, Brooksy, Bryson, Paddy Reed. What's the common theme here? None of these guys have been in form for 12 months. You think now they're practicing that they've had their big payday? No. I mean, Dustin Johnson, he would have lifted the old fishing rod a lot more than he's lifted the lob wedge the last couple of months. So, of course, they're going to show up. They're going to put a show on for whatever fans may go out there, but it doesn't mean everything. They already got that bag. So I think the guys with motivation, the intangibles, absolutely. Kevin Na, Matty Jones at 33-1, a short course specialist. I don't mind Jedi Morgan, another Aussie at 250-1. He's only got to beat 47 other out-of-form golfers with no cut. No one knows about him. Not a lot of spectators out there. Great chance for the value play.
Dubsy, I know we said we're only going to ask you to come on for majors, so this was just an appetizer before 2 weeks till we had 2 weeks, right, till the Open?
Yes. We got another couple of borderline events next week. The Scottish Open's going to be the big tune-up, and they've come out and said, look, hey, none of these live golfers are allowed to play in the final prep event over there in Europe, so that's going to hurt their chances again. If you're looking for a fade play, stay away from these live golfers at the major championships. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be allowed to play. The British Open, the Open Championship, we're going back to St. Andrews. The big cat, Tiger Woods, he's won there twice before. You know he's getting his game dialed up. It's a shorter golf course. And for us right now, the Live Golf League, it's dependent on getting those world ranking points. Can these guys still pick up points and maintain their world rankings? And that's going to allow them to play in the majors. If they don't, what happens next? What's the outlook for next year, for 5 years from now? There's no feeder to it. There's no development to it. What happens once they want to get 60 guys who play in these live events? Still a lot of unknowns, but hey, good times in the golf, boys. It is getting really, really spicy. And this is what we want. Golf needs a competition in sports. It's always a good thing. I don't agree where the money's coming from or sports washing, but hey, it opens up the door for a couple of these young golfers trying to make a career. More golf for us, more betting options. That's what it's all about, boys. Making that cheddar. All for it.
The one and only Dubs Anderson. You can follow him at Mr. Dubsy on Sports Grid TV, on Sports Grid. Bostonian versus the book, of course, Props US, and Talking Golf to me. Dubs, we can't thank you enough. We will catch you on the other side in 2 weeks for the Open. How's that sound?
It sounds unbelievable. But JD, Riley, I know I'm going to hear from you on Sunday afternoon saying, Dubsy, you were right again. The best 5 words you ever want to hear in sport. Back in winners at the John Deere Classic. Parlay them up into the Live Portland Invitational. That's what we're doing, boys. Have yourselves a week. I look forward to chatting soon.
Thank you, Dubs. Talk to you soon.
See you, Dubs.
Wow, tough to follow up. The one and only Dubs Anderson giving you a good breakdown, obviously, on the John Deere Classic, and then some quick LIV notes there. Again, the John Deere Classic, just staring at this board, I mean, it's a dart throw. How you could start up at the top is just beyond me.
Right. Like he said, I mean, even, I know I have to imagine the average person. I mean, he likes the Gala this weekend to have a nice weekend, and I kind of agree, obviously, with the way he's playing. But I have to imagine the average person that's trying to back any golfer after seeing, that's the one name that just was, in the second to last group this past Sunday. Like he said, he's been up there a couple times this season. So I have to imagine that's going to be the most popular bet from the average person. So I'm interested to see how that one plays out. But yeah, I've got my eyes on the Illinois guys, so I'm glad he endorsed my Nick Hardy pick there. So,
well, we'll be following for sure throughout the week. Mr. Dubs Anderson. Baseball today. There's been a boatload of games already. Pittsburgh holds on and wins 8-7 at Washington. San Diego, Arizona currently 0-0 in the bottom of the fourth. Yankees, as always, find a way to win 5-3 there against Oakland. Greinke in Kansas City, 2-1 final against Texas. Seattle, 3-0 lead, top of the third against Baltimore. Milwaukee, 5-3 winners at Tampa. And pitchers duel at the Mets, and Verlander defeats Walker 2-0 there. And Detroit and San Fran 1-1. I haven't had the stage to have this blow up. I've been on the phone all day. I had a show with Andrew. My timeline last night, a lot of people saw the venting. I've talked at length about baseball, and there's no crying in baseball. And, when you're going good things just happen. And it is what it is. And last night, we come out of the gates with our first 5 play. And I'm on the show with Scott. We had Phillies and Wheeler first 5. Second pitch, home run, Atlanta. 2 batters later, another home. I'm down 2-0. It was a thanks for playing. I was like, okay. Right. Meanwhile, Phillies had first and third and second and third and 4 out of the 5 innings and got 1 run. Okay. Right. My best play of the day was Houston. Boxed the wire, 9-0. We talked about them. I thought they were a great play. They were favored at New York. I thought Vegas was giving us a big hint there. So I got my last 2 plays of the night. I got a half unit first 5 on the Angels, who are cruising 3-0, top of the 5th. I literally go to the bathroom and I come back and I read single, double, homer, 3-3. And now it was just minus 125. So I'm not laying the half run. Then a double. Now I'm shitting my pants, excuse my French. And then all of a sudden we get the second out. So I'm like, okay, let's just get out of here 3-3. Maybe we can scrape a run across. They bring in a relief pitcher. I think it was Ortega, He gets the call from the catcher. He throws the pitch, and as soon as he let it go, Luis Roberts, the ball still hasn't landed. It has not landed.
Oh, no.
He absolutely crushed it. And it was like the pitcher was shot. He just goes down like this.
Yeah.
So it's 5-3. I know I'm done. Okay? So I got 2 half-unit losses. I got the Astros in the bag, so I got my 1 game left, 1 full unit on the Padres, who are up 6-0. Top of the 7th, 6-0, and then base hit, walk, 6-2, and the pitching coach already come out, and Manaea's out of gas. Never mind, his hair looks like Bozo the Clown. His hair's out to here somewhere. So they bring in a reliever, and now it's 6-4. And I'm like, all right, we're okay. Bottom of the 8th, and I'm not exaggerating. Everyone can go look at my timeline here. Single, wild pitch, walk, bases loaded, still 6-4. Pitcher's still in there. He hits the guy. So now it's 6-5. The pitching coach goes out, he talks to him, they leave him in. He hits the next guy. It's 6-6. And I have a good friend in San Diego that's a Padre fan. I'm like, what is going on? What is your manager doing? And I said it on my timeline. Is he at the beer line? What is going on here? Not once, but twice, 3 times. So they tie it 6-6. The ball never left the infield.
Right.
Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, no guys on. We're getting ready for extra innings. Base hit. Error by Hosmer. Thanks for playing 7-6.
Right. It's I can only feel for you as far as both of them. I mean, I think the Padres one. That one's worse in my opinion. Obviously, I'm a White Sox fan, but it's just inexplicable sometimes. I mean, I had action earlier today, and it was like 0-for-6 runners in scoring position in the first 2 innings or something like that. And it's just you just pound your head into the wall. To me, baseball is the hardest sport where obviously you're going to go hot and cold in every single sport. Baseball to me is when you're and this goes for actual baseball teams. Forget gambling. It's baseball and gambling. When you're coldest in baseball, it seems like it's the hardest sport to dig out of, because shit like that happens, and you just and I'm not saying you're cold, but for me that's how how I've been the last week or so, as far as just trying to dig myself out of this hole and not getting too aggressive, and then just every sign pointing towards one way, and then just nothing goes in your favor, and the complete opposite happens. And you might even take a strategy where this play absolutely makes sense. Let me make this play. This play looks like there's a million red flags. Let me make this play, and they both lose, and they both go the opposite way. So you're right. No crying in baseball, but I think we deserve to rant about it at least a couple times a week.
So it's a short board that's left here. I'm going to throw the stage to yours to have you take a look at the games remaining and see if you can decipher Da Vinci's code here.
All righty. First one up, I believe that it has not already started. The other ones are fifth inning, third inning. Atlanta and Philly, I think, is the next one up. Wright and Suarez here. Kyle Wright, double-digit hits allowed last 2 times out. I'll ask you, I mean, they're minus 135 here on the road. After double-digit hits, I think it is 10 hits and 11 hits the last 2 times out. Should we definitely be expecting a bounce-back start in his case, and the Braves kind of go, maybe a little more value in the first 5 innings? Maybe not. I don't know. And now that I'm looking at it, the first 5 is actually shorter odds than the full game. So are you expecting a bounce-back out of Wright, or is his issues that he's had the last couple times going to continue here?
Oh, I on my rant with the Phillies yesterday, I X'd them off. I'm like, I'm done. And I was like, last time I called for the Girardi firing, and they did, and they rattled off like 14 out of 15. Yeah. I've written them off. It's a spot where you'd say Atlanta owns the back end. Atlanta owns the edge and the starting pitching. Phillies have no back end.
Right.
They did lose one of their stars, correct?
The Phillies. I mean, no Bryce Harper unless somebody else sends that. That's what you're talking about.
I mean, Harper is kind of the heartbeat there. Right. So are they just going to fall into the abyss? I mean, my mind, this is where I am today. My mind says you take Atlanta first 5 minus the hook, or if you want to pay the tax 5, you can play Atlanta. They're right now minus 125. I have no problem with you playing them full game minus the run line, because even if it's tied or you're up 1, you're probably going to get 1 in the end of the game. Right. And you know what would happen? Suarez pitches a 2-hit shutout.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I was expecting some regression from Taijuan Walker today, and he was absolutely lights out. It was a ninth inning home run for the Astros today, and I think you're spot on there. I lean every which way you do, but I'm gonna keep myself out of it. These games against these two teams have always been the last couple of years pretty heated and a little more toss up than we probably let on. This next one though, you're not in Boston, but Red Sox in Toronto in this one. Pivetta and Manoah. Toronto's had some solid success against Pivetta throughout his career, and actually Manoah over 2 seasons, 3 starts, a total of 3 runs allowed versus this Red Sox team, so an average of just 1 earned run per start. Minus what are we at? About minus 170 here for the Blue Jays here at home. Are you expecting kind of a similar story? Blue Jays hit up Pivetta a little bit, Manoah's nails, or are you seeing a little regression for Manoah here?
You know, the locals talked before the series started. I talked to anyone that wanted to listen that the Sox were not set up for this trip. Their actual best closer, who was 6 for 6, Houck, couldn't make the trip because he wasn't vaccinated. Their leadoff hitter, Duran, who was hot as hell, didn't make the trip because he wasn't vaccinated. So they go out, they lay an egg game 1, and we talked about it, and the locals talked about it. I was like, this back end, it's not fair. They're not set up. They had won 7 in a row. Yesterday, you can blame this on Houck. They were down 4-1. They battled back, took a 5-4 lead. In the bottom of the 8th, they got some guy named Danish. And I thought I was at a coffee shop or something. I said, who the hell is this Danish?
Right.
1, 2, 3. So now Cora's sitting there like, what do I do for the 9th? Well, let's wheel them out. Because, of course, it's 9-1-2, right?
Right.
So Kirk waddles up, and what's he do? He gets a leadoff hit, pinch runner.
That guy's
They didn't get it. They didn't get it out. So then Springer gets hit. Someone else gets a hit. Then he brings Robles in, and they get a hit. Thanks for playing.
Right.
Totally 100% on Houck there. I'm a big Manoah fan, huge Manoah fan. You know that. You are too. I can't play the Sox, and I'm not going to pay the tax. So you either lay the 1.5 and think that they're going to score late again. That's where my eyes are.
Right. Right, and the biggest thing I was looking at, if you're interested, well, yeah, aside from Manoah, obviously, I think the tax is too steep. There's a few of the the bigger name hitters in this lineup have some 400, 500 batting average and OBPs against Pivetta over a 15-20 at-bat sample, so that was at least one type of optimism for the Blue Jays. But yeah, I think it's a little bit too much of a tax here. Moving over to the AL Central, Minnesota and Cleveland. So far, I think they've Minnesota's got 2 out of the first 3 this week against the Guardians. Guardians offense looking rough right now, but Dylan Bundy on the mound has been very good the last 2. I personally kind of predict a little bit of a regression on his part, maybe some positive regression on Cleveland's part. Quantrill probably a bigger question mark than I'd like if I'm back in Cleveland here. Are you with me on some Bundy regression and positive regression for Cleveland, or am I off my rocker on this one and Bundy's going to be nails and Cleveland's offense is going to stink again?
Well, Tito and company, after a great run, has now lost 5 in a row. They got swept by the Sox, and they've lost the first 2 games here to Minnesota.
They've lost 2 out of 3. They got 1 on. It was a doubleheader yesterday. They split.
That's right. They split. Okay.
Yeah.
So apologies there. So it's a bigger game. Quantrill is a favorite against a Minnesota team. To me, is an eye opener. I think you're spot on with the Bundy regression. I think that Cleveland can get out early. I think they can hold the fort. I would lean Guardians full game here.
Yeah, and I actually didn't realize this is the first time I'm seeing this in, I was looking at this most recently 2 hours ago. This was about minus 110 each way, and now Cleveland's getting, starting to get some of that respect line moving in their favor. I didn't realize that. So definitely something to note there. Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland in this one, and Bundy gets beat up a little bit. Should be well, we'll see on both sides here, but Miami and St. Louis, excuse me. This one is in St. Louis. Alcantara and I'm not sure how to pronounce this guy. Palante for the Cardinals. Alcantara for one of his worst outings of the year. 4 earned last time out against the Mets. However, it was facing the Mets twice in a row. Spot that I always not a fan of for that pitcher. So I'm kind of expecting a little bit of an Alcantara bounce back. Payante did not start the season as a starter. Now here this month has kind of taken over a starter's role, or you're filling in for a starter's role here. Been pretty solid. Not, it's certainly not Alcantara good. Obviously, you give the edge to Alcantara if Alcantara's in form, but Payante has been pretty damn solid. Are you backing Alcantara 100% in this one, or, is it going to be 2 straight kind of rocky starts for Alcantara tonight?
When I did the Astros yesterday, when I was doing the write-up the night before, what stood out to me is that they were 120 favorites at New York. They win 9-0. When I was doing last night's write-up for today, I'm staring at Miami minus 127 overnight favorites. And it just stands out like a red, it just was like, are you kidding? Now, he's got St. Louis at 43-34. And Miami at 33-40. And as I was writing this up, they were losing 5-3. They lost. Yeah. So they've lost the first 2 games. What really impressed me was St. Louis favored minus 135, 140 against Lopez, and they put up a 9 spot. Okay. Yeah. So when Vegas is giving me Alcantara the sign that he's minus 127, I think Marlins Alcantara is the play here. If you want to try to get cute, go first 5. You don't trust the back end, fine. But I think it's Miami all the way here.
I think so too. The first 5, it's up to minus 140. Which I think I like the full game a little bit more value on that one. I'm almost in a spot where I refuse to play minus a half for this Marlins team just because I would not shock me if this was 0-0 through 5 innings. So I'm with you. I think the Marlins win this one. Alcantara, I think, bounces back really well. So I like where your head's at with that one alongside myself. This one is about the biggest question mark for me out of the entire slate. Reds and Cubs, Green versus Steele. Both these guys have been hit or miss. You've talked about Green, I think, got a lot of talent, 22 years old, but still, cutting his teeth in the MLB here. Steele, I'll let you do the joke. I don't want to butcher that, steel or aluminum or whatever it is, but obviously very
aluminum can.
Yeah, steel or aluminum can. Very, very big question marks. This one's in Wrigley. I do believe seeing this one total at 8 might make you double think or think twice about taking a total in this one. Wind kind of blowing in here at Wrigley. Anything to make out of this one, or are you moving on from this one altogether?
Being an opening line guy, last night I said I was shocked that Castillo wasn't favored yesterday, and they find a way to win, so it's 1-1 there. With Steele, you take him, and he is the aluminum can. You go against him, and he is the man of steel. Green, 103, 104, 105, but what? How many innings is he going to get you? Surprised at the price. I think Vegas is giving you this little lean, 134 overnight. Cubs, too high of a tax, but if you had to have me select, I think the Cubs find a way today.
Okay. Yeah, I'm this one's not in my Wednesday evening plans here in Chicago tonight. I'll let my friends take over Wrigley tonight on that one. Dodgers and Rockies. I was on I know we talked on Monday about the Dodgers and Rockies. Rockies get the first 2 out of the series actually. Urias versus Marquez. We've talked a lot about Marquez. Last time out, finally a fantastic outing. He's been terrible up until that point. 7 2/3, 3 hits, 0 runs his last time out, just about a week ago. Are you buying the Dodgers in a bounce back to avoid what I think would be a series sweep in this one, 3-game series sweep? Or are you buying? I know you're not a fan of Marquez, but are you buying him maybe 2 starts in a row, at least having a nice outing, or are you going all Dodgers in this one?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Rockies come to Dodgers not too long ago and took like 2 out of 3? They won the series. I think
I'll have to double check. That sounds familiar though.
I thought they came to LA and they took 2 out of 3. Everyone was shocked. I talked about the Sunday night effect that they played at Atlanta. Yeah. They got shut out. Then Monday they go to Colorado. They got shut out again. Kershaw again is not Kershaw of old. kind of funny how that lands on 11. I think they got a solo homer by Turner yesterday to land on 11.
Yeah.
The thought process very simply is that they're not going to get swept. So what are you doing? Are you playing the Dodgers full game minus the run line? You're not going to pay the tax. The under-overs at a flat 11. I mean, the Dodgers should score 4, 5, 6 today. The only play I would suggest, Dodgers run line and pray. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of this one. Marquez, as bad as he is at times, if putting out that really good start last time out, I don't think the Dodgers are getting swept, but maybe this one is a lower scoring one. I don't know, but I'll stay out of this one for sure. I took whenever I get any wins with the Rockies, especially in a series against a good team, and if I get one money line win, I'm taking my money and running for the most part on the rest of the series. So I'll keep that intact. And then I think there's one more, White Sox and Angels again. Awesome pitching matchup, Kopech and Ohtani. Kopech in a bit of a bounce back spot. I think 3 and 4 runs allowed his last 2 times out. I think only time he's had 2 bad starts in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But not typically going past 5 innings for the White Sox here. And then Ohtani has been just in another zone that no other person in MLB on both and all facets of the game is living in right now. Tearing up the plate, has been fantastic on the mound. Total is at 7.5. Gun to my head, I think this one's going to be low scoring. I think Ohtani is fantastic again. I personally am kind of expecting a bounce back from Kopech, but obviously I'm biased on this one. White Sox laid up the Angels last night, but you saw you had the inning you talked about, and then you saw Mike Trout, if you saw on Twitter, which I actually don't know if it was that inning that you're talking about. There was another, I think they put up 5 in the 7th, but you had Mike Trout out there basically like trying to tell his pitcher that he was tipping his pitches, and the White Sox were just kicking his ass. So I genuinely don't know if that was the 5th inning or 7th inning, but regardless, that definitely helped the White Sox bats last night.
That was the second circus. That was in the 7th.
The 7th inning, okay, for sure. But either way, are you going? White Sox kind of continue that and surprise people and put some runs up, or are you going low scoring in this one, or maybe Kopech, kind of continues what he's been doing the last couple times?
Well, we kind of expect some regression from Ohtani. I think he might have had a season or career high at 12 or 13 strikeouts. I think his last start, if I remember correctly. I just witnessed. Phillies fire Girardi. They get hot. Angels follow suit after I called for Madden's head. They just can't figure it out. Rendon done for the year. Again, another lost season for the Angels at this point. 36 and 41, and they came out guns a-blazing. Now,
right,
with the extra wild card spot, they're still not out of it. I mean, I look at the Red Sox at 42. They're only 6 games behind the Red Sox. So
right.
I don't know what's going on there. It just looks like a dysfunctional team right now.
Well,
go ahead.
Two competing dysfunctional teams right now at the most part, for the most part. I mean, the White Sox got their own dysfunctions too. So even more so, question mark, I would say.
I watched the top of the 5th inning, and it was like the White Sox just flipped the switch.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is the team that we expected. This is the team, everyone having fun, high fives, singles, first to third, guys from first scoring. I mean, I'm like,
yeah.
Of course it's against me, and I'm just sitting there thinking of you the whole time, and just sitting there like, woo!
Right.
And I can't lay the tax. I think it's a great price on Kopech. You have no back end at this Angels team right now. If you wanted to get cute today and you wanted to play the White Sox, this is what I would suggest. You take them plus the 1.5. You're probably getting it close to even money. Sprinkle a little beer and pizza money on them plus 170 and call it a day. I mean, hope to get the Angels regression. Maybe Shohei only can go 5 and get to the back end there.
No, I think I'm with you. The plus 1.5, a little bit of a tax, but I'm with you. I think it could be a 3-2 game either way in this one, maybe 4-3 or something like that, even 5-4. So I think I'm with you on that one. Getting Moncada back yesterday, kind of, and like I said, he was scorching hot for a few days before he went on the 10-day IL. Getting him back and hitting yesterday is definitely a good sign. And there's just so many guys that were hitting $150 that are now hitting 250, and that's just, and it looked like, what the hell's going on? And it's like, well, these guys were hitting below the Mendoza line, and now they're, they have a pulse, and so that we actually have the best road batting average in I don't know if it's the AL or the American or in all of baseball, but either way, it's as I've stated my frustrations. We'll look fantastic for the next few days, and then we'll look terrible over the weekend. So, still holding my breath for a nice type of resurgence, or maybe they take LaRussa's head and we go on a 15-game winning streak or something like that. That's what I'm hoping for over here.
So again, everyone, I want to thank everyone for hanging in there, watching. We did something special today. We brought on Sir Dubs Anderson, talking some John Deere, gave out some great insights, some good names there, even sprinkled a little in the Live Tour. And then myself and Riley came in and took care of the evening slate for the MLB. All the ECSI VIPs that care to be listening, I sent out an alert early this morning. I woke up this morning, Riley, it sounded like I was on the floor at the Bellagio with the slot machines going up. I got more emails, DMs, texts, and you could tell the actual people that watched the game and witnessed what I witnessed with, hey, baseball's been unlucky. Let's get them today. Hey, Jeff, tough beat on the Padres. Let's get them today. Versus the other guys that didn't watch it that just says, dude, you suck.
Right.
And I'm like, you guys have no clue.
Right. Right. Because it's so easy. It's so easy you could be tapped in for 2 months straight in baseball, but maybe you're sick of it for a few days, and then you don't watch it, so you have no idea what's going on, and it's easy to roast people about it that that are tapped into it 100%. But yeah, it's such a roller coaster, man. But decent sized breaking news out of the NBA. Hawks trading Gallinari and multiple first round picks to the Spurs for All-Star guard DeJounte Murray, going to pair up with Trae Young. So that's I think that's about as big of a move as we might see in this entire offseason, Jeff.
There was talks about that. And then, when the Spurs start making moves like that, I wonder, because exactly. So
I mean, it's selling. I think it's selling, at least in Murray's case, selling high on him. Like, I don't think his stock's going to get any higher. It's basically, at least on that side of it, for sure. Yeah, I agree there.
Well, and tomorrow morning I have Brady Tinker on from Dallas, and you want to talk about a guy that makes out like a bandit. Mr. Brunson, in the start of January, could have gotten a 4-year deal worth like $44 million.
Yep.
Now the Knicks have pushed all in and is about to get a 4-year, $27 million a year for someone that if Luka didn't get hurt, no one would be talking about.
Yeah, 16 points per game or something like that. Chicago suburb native, about my age. I actually saw him play a couple times in high school, so not quite the same ties to him that I have with my guy Fred VanVleet, who's also getting a nice chunk of money. But still got a lot of love for Jalen Brunson as well, as far as Chicago area. So I hope I think that's probably going to be number 2 biggest move. The Kyrie, the NBA offseason isn't gonna be as much of a circus as it's been in the last 5 years. I mean, these teams are have their hands tied to some degree, at least as far as the biggest names are concerned. So the trade that we just talked about and Brunson is probably 2. Maybe there's one or 2 more, or guys just opted out of contracts only to re-sign is about as big of news as we're going to get. There's not going to be this massive player movement that we've seen over the last few years. So don't be swayed by clickbait when they're telling you Kevin Durant's pissed off at all of his teammates. Maybe that's true, but they're trying to stir the pot. This next week and a half, the last 5 years, has typically been a circus as far as the NBA offseason is concerned. So they're going to be pulling some tricks, trying to generate some buzz that just isn't there, in my opinion.
Surprised at Walt. Was it Walt to the Clippers?
To the Clippers, yeah. I mean, getting the $40 million buyout, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like that as far as just a team, trying to get rid of his contract, but giving him, cutting a $40 million check to not play for him. And I was looking through, I mean, the amount of games that he's played over the last 5 years on an average of, ballpark 40 million is just insane. So it's sad. He was, coming up in the league when I was in probably in high school. So he's someone that I was a fan of, and at this point was hoping he was going to be one of the faces of the league. So I hope he's still got some left in the tank, because it could be a nice pairing there. I mean, the Clippers are one team that nobody's talking about as a team, with now getting Kawhi and Paul George back. I mean, it's a low risk situation for John Wall. If he's not working out, they're not going to be paying him much money, so it's not going to be tough to cut ties with him. But the Clippers team, if John Wall works out, great. But one way or another, I think this team is going to be, kind of back in the top 5 of the Western Conference, and making a push at, if they make the right moves, especially here in the next couple of weeks, because there's going to be a lot of role players moving around, as opposed to what I just said about the big names. There's going to be a lot of role players moving around. So teams can, fill some holes where they need to. And I think the Clippers might be one of those teams now with some health. They could be back in the limelight. And, hopefully John Wall is, a good fit there. Not holding my breath, obviously. Hopefully he can just stay healthy. But, we'll see. It was interesting to see. Good for him to finally go to a situation that he wants to be in, because it's been about 5 years since he's had a good situation to play in. So we'll see how things work out there for him in LA.
Last thought. I know you're a South Side guy. I know you're a White Sox guy. I know it's 4th of July weekend.
Uh-huh.
Is there any part of you that wants to travel to the dark side and check out the Cubs and Red Sox?
Is that series coming up this weekend?
This weekend at Wrigley Field.
Okay. Considering the different, I mean, we're about 15 games ahead of them in the win column, and our tickets are about 15 times cheaper than they are on any given day. So 4th of July, Red Sox ticket. I mean, the Red Sox come to town on either side. That same with the Yankees, Red Sox, and maybe the Dodgers typically jacks up the ticket prices. So no, thank you. I will not be heading over to the dark side. To the unfriendly confines. But did you see they released some images of the sports book that they're going to be opening up in, I think, next year? Looks pretty damn nice. So once that comes back around, and maybe I'll be finding my way over there. But until then, I'm on the opposite side of town, even where I live. Not necessarily, I'm not on the south side, but I'm on the northwest side. So I will not be venturing over there and giving them any business this year. No thanks.
Tomorrow morning, Brady Tinker, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be talking Brunson, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Cowboys, and whatever else Brady brings to the table there. Afternoon will be dark, and then I'll probably be doing tomorrow's Thursday, right?
Yes,
so we're doing a closing bell at around 4:30 on Thursday. We'll give Riley Friday and Saturday off. Well earned, and then we'll figure out our schedule for the 4th of July weekend from there. So again, thank everyone for watching and listening. If you haven't already, please do run over to YouTube and Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors. Just hit the subscribe button. It's free. Tell a friend, tell anyone that wants to listen. And other than that, if you are wagering or investing today, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up the phone. There is an 800 number. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Riley care. We'd like to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, through 2022 and beyond. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley _Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed day. Have some fun, cash a few tickets, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.